A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Welcome back to Famous Moments in Oscar History, Part 2. My name is Jeffrey Leibham. I am one of the foremost Oscar historians in Chicago.
And I'm Patrick McDonald of HollywoodChicago.com.
And in this segment, we would actually like to cover some instances where actually the nominees thought that they were going to win.
Yes, that's right, Jeffrey.
When they actually did not take the gold home with them that evening.
And what is the granddaddy of that certain elements of Oscar fluffery?
I would say that the granddaddy probably is one that most Oscar historians know quite well. It happened in 1933,
okay.
Very, very early in Oscar history,
Yes.
only the 5th year that the actual awards were being given out for film, and it occurred in the Best Director category this year.
Well, let me give you a little background too about that. The host that year was Will Rogers, the comedian, who that year would die in a plane crash. But in those days, in the Academy Awards, the host simply gave out all the awards.
Correct.
And he didn't say anything about the nominees. There were nominees, but they didn't do the...
They didn't read the list
Right.
of the nominees.
Right.
The Best Director Award, of course, came around, and this was when the ceremony was actually held in the ballroom of a hotel. So Will Rogers basically opens up the envelope for Best Director, rambles on and on about, oh my gosh, my good friend Frank, you know, you've deserved it for so long. I'm so happy.
Get it, Frank.
There you go.
Yes.
That's the famous line.
And then which Frank did go up and...
Well, Frank Capra, thinking he had won for Lady for a Day, actually rose up from his table and started walking across the dance floor towards the podium.
Right.
But subsequently, the spotlight was roaming the room looking for the actual winner, who was Frank Lloyd.
And Capra kept saying, over here, over here. And the winner was actually
Frank Lloyd.
Frank Lloyd for
Cavalcade.
Cavalcade. And I guess apparently a good friend of Will Rogers. And he did stroll to the dais. And what did Capra say about that walk back?
Capra wrote in his autobiography that it was the longest, cruelest something walk of his life, right? The darkest moment of his life, and that everybody at the table that he was with, they were all crying when he returned to the table.
Well, all's well that ends well. He
won 3 more. He won 3 Best Directors, so not a problem that he didn't win this year against Frank Lloyd, obviously.
Okay, we're going to go to another misinterpretation of names.
Another first name misinterpretation.
1977.
We will jump forward to 1977.
And this is an interesting story. At the last second, Faye Dunaway, who had won the year previously for Network, had been in an automobile accident. So they asked Sylvester Stallone to come up and give the award, and the nominees were read off. And there happened to be, what, 2 Richards?
There happened to be 2 Richards this year in the Best Actor category. Richard Burton, of course, this was his 7th nomination for a film, Equus. Richard Dreyfuss, first nomination, obviously.
And it was kind of a toss-up that year. There was no real clear winner coming in.
No, there was no clear winner coming in. Obviously, all the sentimental bets, however, would have been on Richard Burton, of course, for 7th nomination.
How did Stallone handle the announcement?
Stallone, of course, being Stallone, coming off Rocky the year before, said, you know, and now the new heavyweight champion of the world is Richard. And then he said Dreyfuss.
Yes, Dreyfuss.
Not Richard Burton, but there are many spectators that were in the pavilion that day that actually said that Richard Burton did rise and maybe even start to walk towards the stage as Richard Dreyfuss actually was victorious for the goodbye.
I only want to know the bender that Mr. Burton went on.
I don't want to go after that either. You may have
and of course, that was his last and final nomination.
Fortunately, it was, yes.
He was dead a few years later.
Correct.
Unfortunately.
That is unfortunate. Richard Burton never to win a competitive Academy Award.
2 Richards. Let's talk about the modern era. We'll go all the way to 1996.
1996.
Now, this is really something. This was actually, what was interesting about this was the nomination itself. It was Lauren Bacall, was getting a nomination for the Barbra Streisand movie, The Mirror Has Two Faces.
Correct.
She played a mother of the bride in there and did a spectacular kind of showy role. And so the buzz started. The buzz started that Lauren Bacall was finally going to get her just desserts and win an Oscar for Best Supporting Actress.
And again, for a sentimental reason, of course.
Yes.
Hollywood loves to do that, to reward older actors.
Except for Richard Burton.
Correct. Darn it all. But yes, so right, no clear front runner.
Yes.
Lauren Bacall, and most of Hollywood thought she probably would pick up gold that night.
Let's go to Kevin Spacey making the announcement.
And the Oscar goes to Juliette Binoche in The English Patient.
As we can see, you know, she didn't win. And cruelly, they put a camera on her.
But I'd like to say that at least to be a little contemporary, Lauren Bacall, of course, Lifetime Achievement Award
this year. And
so
congratulations.
Yes, congratulations
to Lauren Bacall, who is a legend, by the way, and has had many Oscar-worthy performances, just not getting the recognition from the actual Academy.
Correct.
So we move on. Okay, in our final segment on famous moments in Oscar history, we're going to talk about the hosts.
The hosts.
The hosts, because the hosts this year, of course, it's a co-hosting duty between Steve Martin and Alec Baldwin. So we're going to talk a little about the hosts of Oscar and some pairings that may have not worked as well.
Correct.
That'll be next on Famous Moments.